Rain hammered against the windshield as Amelia pressed harder on the accelerator, her breath trembling. The hospital lights glowed in the distance like a promise of safety, but her instincts screamed otherwise. Her hands shook as she clutched her swollen belly, whispering, "Just hold on, baby, please." Behind her, a black sedan had been following for miles. Every turn, every red light, it was still there. When she finally reached the hospital's parking lot, she killed the engine, glanced in the mirror and froze. The car that had been tailing her pulled into the far corner of the lot. Its headlights went off, but no one stepped out. Her pulse thundered. She tried to convince herself it was just paranoia, but deep down, Amelia knew better. She pushed open the car door, rain soaking her clothes instantly, and hurried inside. "Night shift again?" the security guard asked, offering a smile. "Yeah," she lied softly, forcing a smile back. Her voice trembled. "Long night ahead." As she entered the elevator, she caught her reflection in the mirrored wall, dark circles, tired eyes, and that uneasy feeling she couldn't shake. The doors closed, and for a moment she felt trapped, alone with the sound of her heartbeat echoing in her ears. 2 floors up, she stepped into the maternity ward. Everything looked normal, the faint hum of machines, the scent of disinfectant, the low murmur of nurses chatting at the station. But when she saw him standing at the far end of the corridor, her heart nearly stopped. Dr. Daniel Stone, her husband. He wasn't supposed to be here tonight. Their eyes met, and for a moment the entire world fell silent. His white coat gleamed under the fluorescent lights, his expression unreadable. Then that familiar smile curved on his lips, the one that once made her heart melt. "Amelia," he said, voice warm but tight. "You shouldn't be out in this weather, your 9 months are long, what are you doing here?" She swallowed hard. I couldn't sleep, thought I'd help with the night shift." Daniel's eyes softened, but something cold flickered behind them. "You really should rest, for the baby." The baby, the words felt wrong in his mouth now. It had been perfect once, how they met, how he courted her with gentle confidence and subtle charm. But perfection, she had learned, was often the first layer of danger. 3 years earlier, she'd been the new nurse at St. Helena's General Hospital. Daniel was the hospital's golden doctor, brilliant, calm, and adored by everyone. When he started paying attention to her, Amelia had felt like she was living a dream. He was everything she thought she wanted, composed, confident, and endlessly kind. Back then, her mother had just passed away, leaving Amelia an old countryside house and a modest inheritance. Daniel had comforted her through her grief, always knowing the right words to say. But there were signs, tiny ones. Once, during dinner, he had asked, "What are you planning to do with the property your mother left?" When she said she hadn't decided, his eyes had glinted for just a second, too curious, too interested. She ignored it. Love, she thought, was about trust. Now, months into their marriage, that trust had become fear. He tracked her phone, monitored her meals, and even questioned who she spoke to at work. And then, when she became pregnant, his behavior grew stranger. He smiled less, he slept in the guest room more often. And once, when she asked why he seemed distant, he replied quietly, "You're imagining things, Amelia, pregnancy hormones, you know I love you." But one night she found a message on his phone, from someone named Claire. "Everything's ready, the documents are in the safe." When she confronted him, he'd snapped for the first time. "Stop snooping through my phone, you're making yourself crazy." She had cried that night, alone in their dark bedroom, while Daniel slept peacefully beside her. Now, standing in the hospital corridor, looking into his calm, perfect face, she realized that the same man might be the one she needed to fear most. Daniel stepped closer, voice lowering. "You know, I've been worried about you. You've seemed distracted lately." Amelia forced a nervous laugh. "Maybe it's the pregnancy, you know how it is." He reached out, his hand brushing her arm. His touch was gentle, but she stiffened anyway. "Go home," he whispered. "You need rest." She nodded and turned away, pretending to leave, but her mind raced. That car in the parking lot, his surprise appearance, the text she'd seen weeks ago. She wasn't imagining this, something was terribly wrong. Back in her car, she pulled out her phone and called Lydia, her closest friend at the hospital. "Lydia, can we talk? I think something going on with Daniel, I saw." Amelia, slow down, what happened? But before Amelia could answer, a knock came at her car window. She gasped. Daniel stood outside, holding an umbrella, his smile polite and patient. She ended the call instantly and rolled down the window halfway. You scared me, she whispered. He tilted his head. You left so quickly, I just wanted to make sure you got home safe. Rain dripped from his coat, darkening the pavement. His voice was calm, but his eyes were fixed, sharp, unreadable. I'm fine, she said, forcing a small smile. Go home, Daniel, please. He lingered, studying her face for a long moment before stepping back. I love you, Amelia, he said softly. Remember that. As he walked away, a chill ran through her. When she looked back at the hospital windows, she could have sworn she saw another figure standing near the entrance, someone watching Daniel walk off. And in that brief flash of lightning, she recognized the woman from Daniel's phone wallpaper months ago. Claire. Amelia's pulse quickened. If Claire was here, then this wasn't coincidence. It was a set-up. She locked her doors, heart racing, and whispered, What are you planning, Daniel? Thunder rolled outside, drowning her voice. She didn't know it yet, but the next 48 hours would push her to the edge of death and reveal a secret that would change her life forever. The following morning, Amelia woke to the sound of her phone buzzing. Lydia's name flashed on the screen. You okay? You hung up so fast last night, I got worried. Amelia hesitated, glancing toward the empty bed beside her. Daniel was gone. Yeah, she whispered. I just needed to get away from the hospital. I'm fine now. But she hadn't slept a minute. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that black sedan, Daniel's calm smile, and Claire's silhouette in the rain. Amelia, listen, Lydia said. You know I've never liked that man, but lately he's been asking weird questions at work. About your maternity records, about your medication. He even asked who your attending OB is. Amelia's breath caught. Why would he? She stopped. Her hand went instinctively to her belly. Lydia, she whispered, can you check my medical file quietly? I already did, Lydia said. There's something strange. Your prescriptions were modified last week, higher dosage, but it wasn't signed by your doctor. It was signed by Daniel. Amelia froze. That's impossible. He's not authorized. I know, that's why I'm telling you. Her fingers trembled as she ended the call. The world seemed to tilt. Every instinct screamed that something was terribly wrong. She ran to the bathroom and opened the cabinet. Inside were her prenatal pills, the ones Daniel insisted she take daily. She twisted the lid, pouring them into her palm. Tiny white capsules. They looked ordinary, but now she wasn't so sure. Her pulse raced as she picked one up and whispered, What are you giving me? Later that day, while Daniel was at the hospital, Amelia drove to a small pharmacy across town. She told the pharmacist it was a routine cross-check for patient safety. He agreed to test the pills discreetly. When the results came back that evening, Amelia nearly dropped the paper. The capsules contained traces of sedatives strong enough to cause fainting spells, or worse. Her knees gave out and she sank to the floor, tears streaming down her face. He's trying to kill me. At that moment her phone buzzed again, a message from Daniel. Don't stay up too late, love. I'll be home soon. You and the baby need rest. She dropped the phone, her body shaking. The man she married, the man she trusted with her life, was planning to end it. That night, while packing a small bag, she noticed something strange, a leather folder tucked beneath Daniel's side of the bed. Inside were documents, a copy of her birth certificate, her mother's property deeds, and an unsigned will naming Daniel as her next of kin. Her stomach churned. Her mother's estate, that was it. Her late mother had left her a small fortune, enough to build a clinic of her own one day. Daniel knew about it, but she'd never imagined he'd go this far. When she turned the last page, a photograph slipped out. It was of Daniel and Claire, smiling, holding champagne glasses, dated just 6 months before Amelia met him. In the corner, scrawled in Daniel's handwriting, Our plan begins now. Her blood ran cold. The walls felt like they were closing in. Her whole marriage, every touch, every word had been a lie. And now, pregnant and isolated, she had no one she could trust except Lydia. She grabbed her phone and called her. Lydia, listen carefully. I need you to help me record something. Daniel's planning something bad. I have proof. Lydia didn't hesitate. Tell me what to do. Amelia's voice shook. I'll meet you at the hospital tomorrow night. I'll pretend everything's fine, but I need a camera in my room somewhere he won't see it. Lydia's tone hardened. You're not doing this alone, Amelia. I have to, Amelia whispered. If I run, he'll find me, I need to catch him. The next evening, Daniel came home with dinner and a bouquet of lilies, her mother's favourite flower. He kissed her forehead. You've been quiet lately, everything okay? Amelia smiled faintly. Just tired, I think the baby's coming soon. He chuckled softly. Good, I can't wait to meet our little one. But there was no warmth in his eyes, only calculation. That night, as she lay beside him, Amelia pretended to sleep. Through half-closed eyes, she saw him unlock his phone and whisper to someone on speaker. Tomorrow night, he said softly. Everything's ready, we'll make it look natural, no one will suspect a thing. Her heart pounded so loudly she thought he could hear it. She kept her breathing steady, feigning deep sleep. The next morning, she drove herself to the hospital and signed in as if everything were normal. Lydia met her near the nurse's lounge, pressing a small camera into her palm. It records sound and video. Just keep it facing the IV stand. That's where he'll go if he tries anything. Amelia nodded, her hands trembling. Thank you for believing me. Lydia gripped her hand tightly. I've seen men like him before. They always think they're smarter than love, but not this time. As labour pains started that night, Amelia's fear turned into determination. She was done being the victim. Hours later, she lay on the hospital bed, lights dim, machines softly beeping. Lydia had discreetly hidden the camera behind a vase of flowers. Everything was ready. Daniel entered the room, dressed in scrubs, a calm smile on his face. How's my beautiful wife feeling? Pain getting worse, she whispered, trying to sound weak. He brushed her hair back gently. Don't worry, love, I'll take care of everything. He reached for the IV tube, her heart raced. She watched, frozen, as he pulled a small vial from his pocket. Daniel, she whispered, what's that? He paused, smiling faintly. Just something to ease your pain. Tears filled her eyes, she forced her voice steady. I trust you, she said softly, though inside, every nerve screamed that this was it. He bent close, whispering, you always have. Then he inserted the syringe into the IV port. Amelia closed her eyes, fighting to stay conscious. She didn't know what he'd injected, but she prayed Lydia was watching. Within seconds, her limbs felt heavy, her vision blurring. But just before darkness swallowed her, she saw movement at the door, Lydia's silhouette, and heard Daniel's voice. It's done. Everything went black. The sound of a steady heartbeat pulled Amelia back from the darkness. Beep, beep, beep. Her eyes fluttered open to blinding white light. For a moment she didn't know where she was, then it all came flooding back. The syringe, the pain, Daniel's voice. She tried to sit up, but her wrists felt heavy. Tubes ran from her arm, her throat burned, panic surged. Then a calm voice spoke beside her. Easy, Amelia, you're safe now. Lydia was there, tired, pale, but smiling through tears. What happened? Amelia rasped. Where'd Daniel? Lydia took her hand gently. He's gone, but not before the truth came out. Amelia's heartbeat quickened. The camera, did it record? Lydia nodded. Everything, the syringe, his words, even Claire's call right after. Claire. She showed up 20 minutes later, Lydia said quietly. They thought you were dead. He told her it was done, that they could move on with the money. But the police were already watching. The video went straight to my phone. I sent it to the chief. Amelia covered her mouth, tears spilling down. Relief, disbelief, and grief all at once. Lydia continued, voice trembling. They arrested them both. Daniel's in custody. Claire's facing charges too. You're a survivor, Amelia. For the first time in months, Amelia felt the air return to her lungs. But then she looked down at her belly. The baby, she whispered. Lydia smiled softly. Still fighting, the doctors say it's a miracle, you'll both be okay. A tear slid down Amelia's cheek. I can't believe it's over. Lydia squeezed her hand. It's not over, Amelia, it's a new beginning. Days passed, the news spread through the hospital like wildfire, the beloved nurse betrayed by her husband, the hidden camera that exposed a murder plot. Patients sent flowers. Colleagues wept when they saw her. But Amelia stayed quiet. She didn't want fame, she wanted peace. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, she sat by the hospital window, holding her newborn daughter in her arms. The little girl's eyes were wide and curious, so alive. You saved me, Amelia whispered, kissing her forehead. You gave me a reason to fight. A knock sounded on the door. It was Detective Ramos, tall, composed, his expression respectful. "Mrs. Bennet," he said, "I wanted to let you know Daniel confessed. Said it was all Claire's idea, that she pushed him into it for the inheritance money, but between us," he paused, "he wasn't exactly innocent." Amelia stared at the floor. He wanted control, he couldn't stand losing it. The detective nodded. "He'll be in prison for a long time." He hesitated, then smiled softly. "And that recording, it saved your life. If you hadn't trusted your instincts, this would have ended differently." Amelia managed a faint smile. Instincts can save more than medicine ever could. When he left, the room fell quiet again. Only the faint hum of the city below and her baby's soft breathing filled the silence. For a moment, Amelia let herself cry, not from pain this time, but from release. She thought of her mother's words before she died. The truth always finds its way through, no matter how dark the night. It had. Weeks later, Amelia returned home. The house felt different, colder, emptier, but it no longer frightened her. She stood in the living room holding her daughter and whispered, "We're free now." She packed Daniel's belongings into boxes and left them for the police to collect. The wedding photo on the mantel caught her eye. For a second she almost pitied the man in it. Almost. Then she turned the frame face down. Outside, the rain began to fall again, soft and steady, the same way it had the night she first saw the truth. But this time she wasn't afraid of it. Lydia came by that afternoon with coffee and a smile. "You look better every day," she said. "I feel better," Amelia replied, "like I'm waking up from a nightmare." Lydia laughed. "You're stronger than you know." They sat together in comfortable silence for a while. Then Lydia asked quietly, "What will you do now?" Amelia looked at her daughter, who slept peacefully in her arms. "I'm going to open that clinic, the one my mother dreamed of, for women like me, women who have been through hell and still have the courage to heal." Lydia's eyes softened. "You'll change lives, Amelia." She smiled. "That's the plan." As night fell, Amelia stood by the window once more, her daughter cradled close. The city lights shimmered on the wet streets below, reflecting like scattered stars. She whispered softly, "To anyone watching this, if you ever feel trapped, if you ever feel like the world is closing in on you, listen to that voice inside. The one that tells you something isn't right. It might just save your life." She looked straight into the camera Lydia had set up, this time, not hidden but deliberate. "Thank you for listening to my story," she said gently. "If it touched your heart, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Your support helps stories like this reach the people who need to hear them most." She smiled through tears. "Stay safe and never stop believing in your own strength." The frame slowly faded to black as a soft piano score played, a lullaby for survival. Then a final image appeared, Amelia's new clinic 1 year later. The sign read Grace House, a place to begin again. Inside, mothers held Barbies. Nurses moved gently from room to room, and at the reception desk sat Amelia, wearing her old badge, but this time her smile was real. She looked up from her desk as Lydia walked in with coffee. "Full house today," Lydia said with a grin. "Exactly how I like it," Amelia replied. They shared a knowing glance, a silent promise that the darkness was behind them. Outside, rain drizzled again, but it didn't feel like sorrow anymore. It felt like renewal. As the credits rolled, Amelia's voice returned one last time. "This is for anyone who's ever trusted the wrong person and survived anyway. Your scars don't make you weak, they make you real. And if you're watching this right now, don't forget to hit that like button, share this story and subscribe for more real-life tales of strength, survival and second chances. You never know who might need to hear it next." And for the first time in a long time, Amelia felt free.